And welcome everyone on umbraCoffee episode 211. Hey Callum, how are you?
Hey Marcin, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, as always. I can just say that I ran out of my coffee just before umbraCoffee, so
You've
it
ran
just
out of coffee.
yes, it just proves how busy this week was for me.
We can't be doing umbraCoffee when you don't have a
No,
coffee.
cancelled.
I don't drink
Sorry,
coffee
sorry,
ever.
everyone. Sorry, everyone. Cancelled. But I'm curious about one thing, because whenever we are starting the live stream, I see some numbers of people who are joining, and then this numbers is decreasing. So I don't know if our intro scares someone at the beginning.
I don't know. It depends. I think it goes like this. I think there's not normally many people at the
But
start.
imagine you have a tab open with umbraCoffee, you're waiting for it, and then introduction hits. Oh no, close it. That's how I see it. But let us know. And we didn't.
As a slight, I'm going to make a slight aside here because why not? I was talking with Joe Glombeck the other day, who said that he doesn't work Fridays, so he doesn't watch umbraCoffee live, and he listens back to it, on a Monday, but he puts it in a tab and then kind of just listens whilst he works. And I'm interested to know how many other people are doing that. Let us know, because we've discussed many a time before and even looked at like automating the whole process of releasing this as a podcast. And it's a really difficult one to do, because when we're sharing screens and pointing at things, particularly like a few weeks ago where we had Matt come on and do a demo, that doesn't work well for podcast content at all. But actually, some of the episodes where we're just talking about the news might work well. So I'd like to know, how are people consuming umbraCoffee? Are you a live watcher? Are you a listener? Do you watch it back? Do you put it on your TV like Dean? I know a few people do that as well. Let us know. Comments below or the chat. I'm interested.
Yeah, that would definitely help also for us to make it delivered better, because in this case, for example, when we have demos, we can describe them more of what we see on the demo instead of just observing and patiently just walking through that. But yeah, thanks in advance for letting us know. You can do it on comments on Twitter, wherever you will find us. Just let us know. And as usual, we have a set of news from this week. There were some really interesting stuff being shared this week. So let's kick off from Ambraco product update shared by Rune yesterday. Great summary of everything what is coming from Ambraco HQ and Ambraco product teams. We've mentioned release candidate last time, 9.3 release candidate, but I don't know if we were talking about release candidate for 8.18.
I think there was a discussion that it was coming, and then it landed this week. And it's funny because I was talking with a client already about an Umbraco upgrade, doing one to just they're on 8. They just need to be up to the latest 8. And we were saying, we could do it next week, but if you wait a week or so, we'll have an 8.18, and that's supposed to be the final one. And now we've got the release candidate, so we might as well just upgrade them to the release candidate.
Yeah. So yeah, as every release candidate, it awaits testing and validation if it's stable enough to be released. But yeah, it's great to see this coming, and this is the last and greatest 8 release, or not yet? I can't remember.
It is supposed to be
the last planned minor. Yes,
planned minor release for 8. But I'm interested. Of course, what that means is they're no longer going to start porting features from 9 back into 8, and equally, they're probably no longer going to start accepting. They're going to no longer accept PRs to 8. But where the back office is the same, if someone was to commit, say, a CSS fix, what happens with that? Would it get pulled into 8 anyway? I asked selfishly. I have a pull request that does some back office changes, which is I did for 8. I'd love in 9 as well. I'd love it in 8 even more. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't get in, but I'd like to see it. And so, is it that no more back end changes, but maybe some front end fixes will come in, or is it a categoric no? This is the end of the road. It's only security.
Or Callum, maybe in this case, it will be all considered as a patch release, right? Because it won't introduce new features. It will be all fixes, in theory, of course. But yeah, I'm also curious about it, because we know how it is. Still, I have some 7 Umbraco 7 projects, and they're also benefiting from the latest releases, and there are some things that needs to be fixed, and probably we'll do it on our own solutions. Or hack them somehow, or there will be an underground Ambraco release NuGet feed with some, hidden and extended custom versions of Umbraco 8 people dealing nightly releases.
Black market
Yeah,
for Umbraco.
we'll see how it will go, but it's great to see this. And again, what I think might be good for all of us is, like as you've said, no more backporting, no more managing multiple destinations. So it might mean more speed for V9 things and new greatest things, maybe V10, etc. Up front. So definitely it's a good change if you can cut off and stop working on something what you already consider as a legacy. So yeah, it's definitely beneficial for the product, especially if most of people I'm talking with are already working on V9 solutions. So yeah, it's great to see that coming.
The other thing I like, and it's purely for my kind of OCD of these things, but I love to keep our projects and the dependencies of those as up to date as possible. But I've given up on 7 because I know that I can't, because all of the things that are listed there, the packages, they're no longer maintained or anything. And we're kind of at that point now with 8. Now, of course, we want to migrate everything to 9, but it's a bigger task. So I can now look at that and go, no, there's nothing here that I can upgrade anymore. This is the latest 8. This is as far as it's going to go. That's going to make me quite happy for years to come, because these sites aren't going away anytime soon, are they?
Yeah. And again, there are some great blog posts describing the in more details of what's inside of 9.3 release candidate, and same with the 8.18. And yeah, I think we were talking about this, that this is coming, especially around some of these features we all definitely talked about. But yeah, it's there, it's coming, and everyone can use it. So I'm really happy of seeing this also being shipped, especially that because it's the last 8. So we probably will update all of our 8 projects to this one and happily use it from now on. And there are some other updates, Ambraco Cloud updates with some changes here. I didn't follow them, to be honest, because I'm not maintaining any of the cloud projects. What about you, Callum? Do you
actually
use anything?
we've been living and breathing some of these changes already, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Particularly around the portal. So they've been improving the onboarding flow for inviting users, and there's been a challenge for many years, in fact, of when you invite someone, you don't know if they've, like, what role they get assigned. They get assigned an admin role currently, which is not great. And they're working on a way of selecting the role that you get assigned to in the back office and stuff. It's really cool. But I wanted to highlight this because I didn't a few weeks ago. They now have open public release notes for the cloud portal, or for cloud. So if you click on that, they're on our. They're pulled in from a GitHub repo, but they're on our, and it shows they've been doing them since the start of January, since Soren, the new product owner, joined, and they are great, really, really detailed, really clear, and it just shows you the amount of work that's going into the portal too. So go check
that's
that out.
nice.
Make sure the link's below.
Yeah, and it's of course linked from the main product update here. Interesting that I wasn't aware that this is there, but it's great to see that even if we are not or people are not actively using it, it's interesting to see how it's changing, because you don't need to kick off the project to see it, and again, you can just decide if it's something what maybe right now can help you with your current development and project upwards. Some patch releases of course as well for forms.
This CMS one is fixing the issue that was fixed in 9. The security advisory, basically. It's patching security advisory for 8. 8.17. It's also fixed in 8.18.
Yeah, and it's also summarized here that this is the security advisory was published back again. We discussed it as well. Updates to roadmap. We've talked about the SEMrush integration, so it's actively worked on, and there are some other things like custom hostname security options for cloud and CDN capabilities expanded for cloud as well. So that's new thing in now and new in next. Improved permissions for Umbraco forms. That's interesting.
Editable form entries, a few other things as well. There's some reasonably cool features on there. Nothing for the CMS roadmap other than V10, which is going to be ASP.NET.
And a lot of DXP. What we still know that is a hot topic and hot keyword here, and some HubSpot integrations, some new also integrations, and some new strategies here. So yeah, really cool stuff. So yeah, this is all in the roadmap, and yeah, information about Ambraco TV being shut down is something
We've
also
got
that we
we've
will
got a
mention.
post about this a little bit later. We can talk about.
Yes, so we'll get back to this. So that's from this one. As I've said, the blog post about the detailed information about specific releases are also there. The next topic on our list is Skrift release with an amazing part 2 of code reviews series from Michael, and I truly enjoyed it. This is something what I kicked off as a Twitter thread back in the days with the part 1 was released probably, and now still I think there is a lot of discussions to be happening around code reviews. And I don't know what are your feelings, Callum, about this one, but I really liked all of them.
To read this because it's very long and detailed, and I want to give it some attention. But the first part was fantastic, and there's some things we can improve in our processes through there. So yes, I will be taking a good look at
and we tried to get Michael on the call today as a last minute call. So maybe next time we can grab Michael and discuss some of the takeaways from this article, and maybe more people can contribute on how they see code reviews, if they see them interesting or maybe completely not needed. As I have this kind of opinions as well from various companies and teams. So yeah, let's dive into that. And if you haven't seen this article, make sure you will check it because it's very interesting series from Michael. And second article was from Erica. And not as a resolution, but as a summary of the previous year, plus some plans for this new year. And yeah, I quickly checked this. A lot of people relate back to this because there is an interesting topic tackled here about the word guys, and Erika plans to make it less used from at least her perspective. So yeah, it's great to see summary from her side and the team side. I don't know, Callum, if you checked this one.
Yeah, I did. I did give this one a read because there was some chatter on Twitter about it.
Yeah,
I know that I think Seb was saying specifically, trying really hard to make sure that he uses some alternatives. People were discussing that the kind of levels of comfort of using some of the alternatives there. Like I know y'all gets thrown around a lot, and there's a Brit saying that feels really unnatural, really unnatural. I'm not a cowboy or anything.
It all relates to all of my hip hop history when I see y'all in this kind of stuff of understanding of English. But it's interesting.
Scott Hanselman, of course, has commonly used the "Hey friends," and I think that's quite nice. It's more personal, and yeah, it's cool to shake things up a bit. But there was definitely, it was interesting seeing some people say how they felt saying certain things that they didn't really feel so super comfortable with.
Yeah, it's interesting because in Poland, I joined and observed some of the investments groups recently, and one of them is called Cool Guys Capital, and of course it's not aimed to only men, and there is a lot of women voices inside of it that they are not offended by that because they joined the Cool Guys Capital just because investments behind the scenes. So it's a very interesting topic, and again we know that this is a huge discussions around various things also with the language and tools we use, but yeah, it was great discussion on Twitter as well. So yeah, everyone can share their opinions and align or decide of the some other words or other factors from the life in general, such as Erica for being reduced in the upcoming year. So yeah, that's a great summary from her and Skrift team. And that's the main part of news. We have a lot of other things to mention, starting from Niels's exploration of some search indexes. That was interesting.
This is cool. I mean, I love integrations like this in the back office. We've done some things recently where we've given an export option on an action there. So some specific data that's maybe I'll give you the exact example actually. Creating an event, and then we have members elsewhere in the system that can sign up, and then we have a content app that shows you all the members that have signed up to that, and then we have an export button in the action menu. I'm a big fan of modifying the action menu for just quick actions you don't need to worry about. This is another great one. It's not something I've ever seen done in Umbraco. Send to index, send something to Google, but you can use their webmaster tools or the Bing and the Yandex ones to say, hey, go crawl my page. And that's a cool idea, putting that in there.
Yeah, I also like this kind of extension, but I don't like the fact that some, for example, users of solutions based on Umbraco extended with this way are coming back and saying, "Oh, who moved my cheese? There was an export button here to export members." And I said, "Oh no, it was a custom integration." So it's by us making it all look like native. Some people are expecting some of these features from the upcoming projects, and that's interesting.
It's like the catch-22. Do you want to have a really nice, polished editor experience that's consistent, or do you want consistency globally? Like, do you want everything everywhere to be exactly the same? And Umbraco is flexible, so it's never going to be. And whenever I hear a client say we're not happy with Umbraco, we don't like Umbraco, it's normally because their setup is terrible. And they've not unlocked the potential. And when we've been working really hard on a really polished editor experience and some custom stuff for a client, and the other day he said, I'm really starting to love Umbraco, and it's like that's a big win, really, really big win for us. So yeah.
To be honest, I'm every day I'm convincing myself, thanks to content apps, all of those custom actions, compositions, that it's really growing in the right way, because we can easily extend it, make it look native, and again, having UI, for example, components, and make them even look similar to just native Umbraco is like, really. I hope a lot of other customers will feel like, oh, this is Umbraco, this is their powers. But then it can we can all say that you can build whatever you want to build, and it will look native and feel native, and make sure that your editors won't get lost, because that's also something what we care a lot as developers recently, is like to not let people get lost with the CMS and content distribution.
It's something Umbraco's done a lot to help with, I think, in recent times as well. Like the polishing the UX, things like the block editor are really intuitive, are really clear. And I have to say, I know there was a big debate about tabs versus no tabs versus groups or whatever it was, collapsible. It took years, didn't it? I still don't think it's still quite a political thing. I still don't think it's resolved. But I have to say, I've been a relative fan of groups. The groups layout for certain use cases. But I did say to Runa and Niels Hartvig like 2 years ago, when this was all being discussed, that it would be cool to be able to just optionally have tabs, optionally move some stuff to groups. And finally, the other day, this came to fruition when a client said, hey, I couldn't find the SEO data for this. It's like, okay, yeah, fair enough. It's kind of, there was a grid in the page. It was buried right down the bottom. I'm on 8, 16 and above, or whatever it is. So I just go, okay, adding an SEO tab in my composition. Everywhere across the site, they've now got an SEO tab. And that instantly made it way easier for them. So I'm liking the tools that Umbraco is giving us now to make those kind of changes super quickly and improve the editor experience.
That's true, and I fully agree with it. And another great small hack was shared by Warren as well this week, and it was about utilizing icons, SVG icons across the solution. So, and another small things, but again, this post and this information raised a lot of discussions, and I think it's also interesting to show how it can be extended with custom icons, and how easy it is, because in overall it's extremely easy to do so, and I know a lot of teams who have their own sets of icons, a lot of custom visuals for even brand that is using the CMS, and it's very helpful to extend it with this kind of features, because thanks to that we can make it feel more related to the customers, to editors who uses it, and make it feel better for them. So yeah, great hacks, and I think it also we need to share a big kudos to Warren, who started a really nice thread of again kind of best practices or good practices of working from Umbraco, and yeah, it also forced me to relate back to my presentation I did. I don't know what year it was, but it was definitely about 5 years ago in Sweden. And it was about best practices from my perspective then, and a lot of them are still relevant. So if you, whoever you are in front of this camera, on the other side of the camera, let us know your best practices and your interesting practices, and maybe go back to the Warren's thread, because it grows to be a really nice set of tips and some possible takeaways for all of us, even if we are working with Umbraco for ages.
Definitely.
Did you see this one? Did you see this one?
Yeah, I did. I love this one. And as I say, we've been doing loads of custom back office stuff. And recently, those best practice, or where should stuff live type questions, what should we be extending, customizing, have all come up. And it's great to see other people still having these conversations. I don't feel like I'm kind of behind the pack in any way. And it's made it. I think ultimately asking these questions and having these discussions has made our solutions better too. The kind of things we're implementing. So yeah, we've done some custom icons. We've done some properly extending the back office in like a really nice, clean, structured way where it's its own packageable app.
And dashboards makes a huge difference. That's what I must say. Again, I logged into some new fresh.
Joe on our team built an awesome. I wish I could show it. Built a really, really awesome dashboard with charts and everything on it the other day. And it looked great. And I fed back to Matt after we had him on saying, if Fluidity could do charts, it's a winner. Because we found it in the end, it was quite easy. We could aggregate the data on the back end, make it conform to a model, and then put it into an API and consume it on the front end. But if Fluidity could do that, that would be even cooler. So hopefully, that will come.
Yeah. I remember you marketing suit who introduced the charts, visuals, and we know that people like charts. They like visual representation of data, and it will be a game changer for sure.
We've got Charts.js in the back office because the log viewer uses Charts.js, so you can use that in all your custom dashboards, context apps, whatever you want to do with it.
Good tip then. let's see what people can do with it. And of course, if anyone would like to share, I remember Marcus's the dashboard package still being heavily used in various projects. It was a great change of the initial view, what you see when you log into Ambraco, and I'm sure there is a lot more from the community and projects implementations. So yeah, maybe we will need to organize some contest of the best starting dashboard for Umbraco implementation, or maybe a category for Code Garden this year, because I would love to feel inspired with some great initial experiences with Umbraco back office when you log in.
Indeed.
Another tip and another great article was shared by Carol this week, and it's about cache tag helper for Umbraco 9. And for me, it looks like some kind of donut output caching, but wrapped with a tag itself. I haven't used this.
It is in many ways is so much better. I'm still getting my head around tag helpers in Umbraco in .NET 5 and whatever, because it feels to me slightly unnatural. Like when you look at your view, I kind of expect my view to just be markup, because for so long that's been the case. And we went from web forms where it was horrible syntax to, oh, now I can have pure clean markup, do whatever I want. And now we're starting to kind of combine the two. And I know this is the way things are going. I know Blazor does similar. And it's no different to when we're doing things with, say, Vue or with Angular or React. But I'm still kind of coming around to it. However, it's very powerful, clearly. Very, very powerful.
Yeah, I think it all needs to click in our heads, because as a backend developers, and we both are backend originally, it's like thinking of actions to be cacheable, or even hiding it from the markup itself. Right now, it's like mixture of both, and you can have a cached action which has a cached partial, or even part of the partial cached. So that's the inception of partials inside of it, or caches. What is of course dangerous. We know how hard it is to invalidate it at the end. But here it's really interesting, and again, it might simplify a lot.
There's two dangers. There's two sides to caching. Actually, there is invalidation, which is one, but second is it's very easy to just wrap a cache tag around something without really realizing why it's slow in the first place. So easy to do that. And then you're like just papering over problems where when all your caches reload, your whole site crashes under load because it needs to be cached. So we've had this debate recently of should we be caching data at the kind of service layer that's coming out, or should we be caching the output? And it looks like we should be doing both in different scenarios with different rules. So it does get really complicated, especially on a big application. On websites, though, things like the header nav, that's a kind of a nice, easy one to do with this, isn't it?
Yeah, it all reminded me as well some of the projects I saw in the past that were using a macro that has this cache checkbox selected, and the macro was wrapping every other template in the view inside of it.
No, no,
So
please.
yeah, there are many ways of doing this, but again, I remember Anthony, our great lead back in the days, who said that cache is the last line of resort, right? It should be, and I still agree with it. If you start from using cache up front, you will hide a lot of problems from being exposed earlier. But yeah, it's of course common, and everyone can use it. And this is a great also information on how we can use it in this particular implementation way. So yeah, thanks Carol for sharing it. I really like this one. Because again, it makes it easy from the markup perspective.
Really easy, yeah.
Expires after, all done. And of course, the configuration way is also interesting because we can control it from the config itself. Yeah, really good one.
It's very cool. Just on the topic of this as well, and caching in .NET Core and 5. I know that I've mentioned this on Twitter before. I know Cornet was asking about it too, and I still don't have a solution, which is in .NET Framework. We could, of course, use the output cache attribute on something and just cache the results. The equivalent in .NET 5, as far as I've seen, adds cache response headers to the request, but doesn't actually cache the data server side. And so then it's like, oh, now I've got to manage cache myself. So if anybody watching, it's like the 5th time I'm asking, but if anyone watching knows how to do the equivalent of output cache, which is a server-side level cache in .NET 5, please let me know. Without me having to manage my own cache, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's interesting. If you will find out, be sure to share it, of course. Cool. The next one on our list is Purnima's blog about friendly image captions using Azure Computer Vision Image Analysis Service. So more dive into cognitive services from Azure. And I haven't checked it yet, to be honest. I just saw that Purnima teased the information from this blog. Callum, did you have a chance to?
I've only briefly. I think she posted it last night or this morning. But
yes,
we've seen stuff similar to this before. You know, Purnima stuff's always fantastic. It's clearly very powerful to do this.
I remember
using it for the color detection as well to decide what background to put images on, and so it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, again, throwing my ideas and something what I thought back in the days about cognitive services, because here it's probably using AI to write captions about the image itself. And what I thought about AI in Umbraco back office in the media section was to use this kind of caption for indexing purposes to then search based on it. So imagine you have cats images in your media section, and you search for cats in the search, and you have all the images despite of their names, etc., without this caption. So I think it's one step towards this kind of solution. I need to check the code, but I dreamed about it back in this because I had my own side project website on Ambraco who has so much madness in the media section going on that I couldn't even find the right images. So yeah, maybe this is it.
Yeah, when you upload img01234.jpg
or screenshots.
Yeah,
it's only screenshots, image, date, time. Yeah, it would help a lot. It would help a lot. Cool. Next one is from Dennis.
A battle of the Microsoft MVPs here. Three fantastic posts in a row.
Yeah, and again, this also landed on my to read and to the list. But as usual from Dennis, it's definitely worth checking. And this one is titled "Testing an Ambraco Dictionary Value Using iCultured Dictionary and Ambraco Helper." So yeah, I think I saw the tweet from Dennis about it, and again, I haven't been testing and working too much with dictionaries to be honest. But it seems like there is a way. And Dennis found it and documented it on how to test and wrap the dictionary with some testing cases. So yeah, if anyone is interested or struggles with it, there's a test setup even shared by Dennis here. Cool. Yeah. Do you have banner, Callum? Do you have banner? Appreciation time.
We can do that. We've not done that in a while, have we? There we go.
Yeah. The banner is always ready. So yeah, check it out if you are in the need of wrapping your dictionary with test cases. Next on our list is something what was shared a while by Code Cabin team. and it's an interesting tease of what's going on, and we can just assume, right? We can just assume what's happening, but as 2022 is not crossed, we can just think that maybe Code Cabin is happening this year.
Should there be a question mark after the 22? Maybe. Let's hope. I'd love to see Code Cabin come back. I think it was 2019, the last one, and I went, and it was a very good experience. Recommend applying. I know they said in 2020, oh, anyone that applied will roll your application over to 2021. Yeah. It's like, well, try a couple of years later.
Yeah, it was all hanging on my list to of things to check as an Umbracian, but we all know, we had a lot of plans for the year 2020, 2021, so it's hard to plan anything, and this year is like yet another. But observing the world right now, it's more possible to happen than in previous ones. Fingers crossed, and we'll definitely keep it on our radar, and we'll update if anything will change, or we will have any updates from Code Cabin team about it. The next one is about something what we already mentioned briefly, but Ambraco TV is dead now.
Dead. I think it's been dead for quite a while.
But now officially, at least. Yeah, now officially. So yeah, there is a new replacement that is really heavily supported from Umbraco HQ, and some new team members, some also new energy placed on that, and it's called Umbraco Learning Base, and it's a YouTube channel to which we can all subscribe to, and there's already a lot of content gathered from various.
So I think what they've done is consolidated all of the cloud content and the V8 content that they had on the YouTube channel already, and they've consolidated that over on this new channel, and they've added some Umbraco 9 content plus new videos each month, which will be really, really cool. And they're very basic entry level, getting started. Or introduction to concepts, but that's fantastic to see, and it's something I know that a lot of people search for. People for a long time have been making that content themselves, haven't they? Paul Seal, etc.
Yes. So I think again, as every YouTube channel, it's interesting to see it on this place, on this search as well, because it will make all of it easier to access and easier to be found. And as we've mentioned, there's a lot of information already, and there's more upcoming stuff. And definitely for some people who are looking for new information, people who are starting with Umbraco, it's a very good place to start with. I already subscribed, so let's see what's next.
They need to get a custom username. They've got over 100 subscribers now, so they can.
Yes. Yeah, instead of this one. Yeah. So yeah, that's this one. And the new videos will be released every month. So that's promising. So let's see what next will hit us on this channel. Umbraco HQ still, because Arnold shared a great summary of his journey with Umbraco HQ. And again, I replied somewhere. I don't know if it was LinkedIn or Twitter or here. I can't. It's just unreal that it's just 2 years. I thought that it's a lot more for Arnold in the HQ, but we of course know that Arnold was very close to the community and very close to HQ as well back in the days. But yeah, it's 2 years for him, and great activity in the Umbraco HQ and Netherlands market in overall. And I think it's just the beginning of the whole journey. And yeah, that's interesting, an impressive story from his side.
I mean, he's across Code Garden and helping other festivals, and kind of just generally leveling up there. He works quite a lot with us behind the scenes as well to get guests and things. He worked incredibly hard with me on the Umbraco Together event that we did in November. So yeah, it's amazing. And then just hearing about his journey and kind of how he's actually been pretty close to Umbraco HQ for a very long time. He started life an agency where Seb worked, and of course they crossed again 15 years later, which is incredible.
That's very incredible, and yeah, I think big kudos to Arnold, and for his help and for everything what he's doing, as you've mentioned, behind the scenes as well, because we also had a lot of great insights and information from him to mention on umbraCoffee as well. So yeah, keep up the good work, and definitely there is a more upcoming of great stuff, and Code Garden that is on the roadmap for this year. with Ilham, Trina, and the rest of the amazing team in Umbraco HQ. So yeah, we have fingers crossed for everything to make it happen and make it the best possible for all circumstances around. And it wasn't an easy time in the last 2 years to grow communities and events, etc. So it can be just better. It can be just better right now.
Yep.
And last but not least on the list is a new hire in Umbraco HQ. And this time is Patricia, who joined as a compliance inspector. That sounds.
I'm incredibly interested because she says she finds GDPR interesting.
Yeah, that's
which is incredibly interesting. I mean, it's super complex, and I guess that's what her job is, right? Compliance. But
yes,
wow.
Compliance. So yeah, that's again, it's great to find people who feel interested in the areas where we particularly are not interested in, and just combine and make these efforts for good. And it seems like, and again, this topic is very important. Even this week, it was announced that pop-ups are getting banned or not. It's hard to say banned, but they are not the best way of serving the cookies information about the website. So you are not, from now on, or maybe some specific date of the year, you don't need to, you can't use pop-ups to inform about it. So you will need to have a landing pages or entrance pages informing you that the website is storing cookies.
I still to this day do not know why that's just not a browser thing. And I know we don't really trust Google to honor that, but it's open source. You'd kind of hope and expect that they do. It should just be a browser thing. Should be.
And again, GDPR cookies are not my topic, so I will trust people who feels and knows what they are talking about it. And we know that Ambraco was closer working with Cookiebot, for example, right? That was the one who the company that made some extensions for Ambraco. And who was the Ambraco HQ member who joined the Cookiebot team?
Joachim and Klaus.
Yes, so that's that. I hope that the knowledge is still shared across the teams and team members. So we'll have some more inputs and maybe ways of utilizing the cookie consent, the GDPRs in Umbraco implementations, because we know how clients and some specific branches and also groups of clients cares about it and needs to care about it. So if we'll be able to help them, and Umbraco will have the dedicated team or team members who will be able to support us and clients with it, it will be definitely helpful for the whole ecosystem.
Indeed.
Okay, so that's our list of news for this week. In theory, short, but not short in overall. If we missed anything, as usually, we apologize. Let us know if we missed anything. And keep us updated with the content. And please, if you are here with us to the end of this episode, first of all, like, subscribe, share it amongst your friends, colleagues, and family.
We've got a banner for that. Wait a second. There we go.
Yeah, proper YouTubers. Family first, then colleagues and potential people interested in the content we share here. And let us know how you consume umbraCoffees, because as Callum mentioned at the beginning, we are thinking about evolution of the content, and maybe that will be the great input from your side and your contribution to umbraCoffees in the better form. So let us know how you and where you watch us, and when. Maybe as a comment on YouTube. That will be the best proof of. So if you watched us or listened to us right now, it's the moment to let us know in the comment section on YouTube that this is it, this is when, and we'll analyze it and maybe make some better charts as a Umbraco dashboard of analytics of our umbraCoffee. I wanted to say customers. umbraCoffee viewers.
We'll call them customers.
Customers. You you consume umbraCoffee, so you're our customer. Yeah, that's the honest answer. Cool. And thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. Thanks, Callum, for the great input of the news gathering. And we'll see each other, as usual, on the next Friday.
Bye.
Have a great rest of the day and weekend ahead.